Welcome to AFL Outsiders, brought to you by AFL FanZone.
Hey there, AFL fans and football fans alike. Welcome to the AFL FanZone Game of the Week preview. We got the 2-1 LA Kiss going over to Orlando to face the 3-0 Orlando Predators at the Amway Center in Orlando at 7:30 this Saturday, April 23rd on ESPN3. What to watch for? Why should you watch this game on Saturday night? Well, first off, Orlando's coming off a short week, okay? So they played Monday night against Jacksonville, had a tight game, as I'm sure you guys know. Won in the very end, but they only practiced one day this week. That was Thursday. So not only are they coming off a short week, but they're only getting one day to really be on the field to prepare for the Kiss. So I'm looking at that as they're not going to be as prepared as they should be going into Saturday's game. That goes right into number two, the reason why you should watch. It's going to be a quarterback battle, okay? It's going to be Nathan Stanley versus Randy Hibbard. Alright, Nathan Stanley has played okay this year. I mean, he has 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 59.1% completion rate, and a passing efficiency rating of 103.4, while Randy Hibbard has gone 16 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions at a 63.2% completion rate and a 106.8 passer efficiency rating. So those are your two quarterbacks, but the asterisk here is LA has played the top 2 defenses in passer efficiency in Cleveland and Arizona. Now, Jacksonville is 6th in the league, but still, they play the top 2. Orlando, on the other hand, has played the bottom 3 teams in passer efficiency defense. The Steel, the Storm, and the Sharks are all in the bottom 3. Now, that could also be because of the quarterback play of why the defense is looking like they're playing so poorly, but still, the level of competition on defense is much different for both of these teams. So if you take out Nathan Stanley's game against Arizona week 2, his numbers look like 47 of 71, 9 touchdowns, 1 pick, and 474 yards. That jumps up his completion rating from 59.1 to 66.2. Now, I'm not a huge fan of doing that. The only reason I bring it up is because that one game against Arizona is so different from the other 2 games against Jacksonville and Cleveland. So I'm looking at that. As of right now, that looks like an anomaly. It's really, like I said before, it's Stanley versus Hibbard. Who's going to play better Saturday? Last one. It's a cross-country trip for LA. I mean, we saw Jacksonville go over to LA in week 1. I mean, they came out hot, but then they fizzled in the second half. It's always a struggle it doesn't matter what team you're playing, what league you're in, what sport you're playing. It's tough to go cross-country and travel 3 different time zones. LA's coming to Orlando, where they have not won in their history. They have not won in Orlando. And actually, they've only won 1 game in the Eastern Time Zone in 3 years. That was last week's game against Cleveland. Before last week, they were 0-5 against teams in the Eastern Time Zone. So LA struggles when they're traveling. That kind of evens out the advantage that they would have with Orlando being on a short week, having LA do the traveling. But still, it's something to look out for. As far as the stats that matter going into this game, number 1, Orlando outscores LA by almost 20 points a game on offense. Orlando is 2nd in the league with 64 points per game, while LA is 5th in the league at 46.3. So that's almost 20-point difference per game. Orlando scores more than LA. I'll bring it up again. Orlando has played Tampa Bay and Portland, the 2 worst teams by far in the league right now, while LA has played Jacksonville, Arizona, and Cleveland. Obviously, you can only play the teams on your schedule. I'm just throwing that out there. That could help the numbers a little bit. The other part of that is Orlando is also 2nd in scoring defense at 43.7. So they score 64 points a game, 2nd in the league, and they only give up 43.7, which is also 2nd in the league. And LA only scores 46, so Orlando gives up less points than LA scores, basically, per game. Number 2, DJ Stevens for LA. Everyone talks about Captain Morgan, and rightfully so. He's 3rd in the league in touchdowns with 8, I believe. But especially last week, he was Nathan Stanley's go-to guy. He got most of the receptions. He's 4th in the league at 9 receptions per game. He gets a lot of dink and dunk passes and does what he can with it. So look out for DJ Stevens if you're Orlando. He's definitely going to get the ball a lot. He's also LA's kick returner, so he's going to get the ball a lot. And the last for the stats, if you go back to last year, last time Orlando played LA, it was week 4, I believe, 4 or 5 of last year when LA traveled to Orlando. Randy Hibbard was 26 of 29 for 339 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 0 picks. That's an 89.7% completion rating, which was his highest of the season last year. So obviously this team is much different. But it's worth noting that Randy Hibbert played amazing last time that they played. That kind of goes into why to watch this game. Randy Hibbert has a good history against LA. So what does it mean for both teams? Well, a win by Orlando keeps them at the top of the American Conference at 4-0. Right now they're 3-0, obviously, number one in the conference, and then you got Philly at 2-1. Now, like I said, if Orlando wins, they become 4-0 in the conference. A loss for LA will keep them at number 2. Right now they're number 2 behind Arizona. Even if they lose, they will stay at number 2, because even if Cleveland wins, LA gets a tiebreaker because of head-to-head matchup. If LA wins, that means they get the sole place of second no matter how Cleveland plays. They'll be 3-1, and then a loss by Orlando means that they will stay in first place as long as Philly does not win number 1. But if Philly wins and scores more than 13 points more than Orlando, then they will become first place. But either way, it's still week 4. Obviously, we're only a quarter of the way through the season, but that's where we stand after this game. The bottom line of this game, Orlando is the more established team. We know this. They played very well last year. LA struggled last year. LA is 2-1 this year. They had a great first game, really bad second week game, and they pulled it out in week 3. Orlando's kind of had their ups and downs as well, but they're 3-0. They're at home. LA went on the road to play Cleveland last week. Then they went back to LA. Now they're back on the East Coast. So there's a lot of traveling for LA. So I expect a little lag from both sides. You know, one because Orlando's on a short week, and then LA because, like I said before, they traveling back and forth. But Orlando leads in almost every statistical category. But what both sides need to do to win this game, number 1 for LA is Nathan Stanley needs to play well. He needs to play like he did in week 1 against Jacksonville and not like he did week 2 against Arizona. And he needs to play better than he did last week. I know Cleveland's number 1 in pass defense, but still, he needs to play better than he did last week if they have a shot against Orlando. Number 2, they have to get off to a fast start. If they start off slow, Nathan Stanley's going to start pressing, which is what he did against Arizona, and that's when he started throwing the interceptions. So they need to get off to a hot start, or it could get pretty ugly like it did against Arizona. Orlando's game plan basically is stop the big plays by Morgan. That's their number 1. As long as Morgan doesn't get a bunch of big plays and they can keep DJ Stevens in front of him, don't let him get around. He's going to get a ton of passes. Tackle him immediately. Don't let him get a lot of yards after the catch. All that kind of stuff. Have Hibbert play efficient like he normally does, and Orlando should come out of this game 4-0. And I think that's what's going to happen. I have Orlando winning 58-55 in a close one. But like I said, it could get ugly for LA. But I think it's going to get close. I think Nathan Stanley is going to play like he did week 1. I think it's going to be a great game. That's why it's our game of the week. But that's it. I hope you guys enjoy the games on Saturday night. Remember, this one's at 7:30 Saturday night on ESPN3. And I hope you check that out. I'll see you on Monday for the Monday evening quarterback. Make sure you check us out on YouTube and join the conversation. Come join us live. We have a conversation going. We talk about the games. We look ahead to the next week. And take care, and I will see you then.